Hi guys, Remy here, welcome back to another video. Today I don't have any new records to show you and I'm not doing a haul or a collection video of any kind. Instead, I'm going to try and do a little bit of a video essay. I'm sorry if this doesn't go very well, but I just wanted to give myself the opportunity to talk about a trend that I've noticed in the vinyl industry that's bothering me a little bit, and I kind of wanted to break this video down in sections so that I can kind of make my argument as clearly as possible. But if it ends up that I'm just rambling at you, I truly apologise. Anyway, I want to talk about the problem that I have with modern vinyl singles. Let's go back a little bit and talk about the history of the single. So the first instance where sound could be permanently recorded and stored was on wax cylinders back in 1885 with the gramophone. The gramophone was invented by Charles Sumner Tainter and Chichester Bell. We did have Thomas Edison's phonograph that preceded the gramophone, but Thomas Edison's first phonograph could not permanently record sound because the tin foil that he would use would just get destroyed pretty much immediately. However, after the gramophone, Thomas Edison did update his phonograph so that it could be used on wax cylinders as well. However, eventually shellac records and 78s replaced cylinders, and then in 1948, 33 RPM, revolutions per minute, 33 RPM records made out of vinyl kind of became the norm. However, on March 15th, 1949, RCA Victor became the first label to roll out records that were smaller, 7 inches in diameter, and they held less music, only a few minutes per side, than the in vogue 78s. Soon, other companies that were entering the market began to roll 45s out as well, and the singles revolution began. Teenagers of the 50s took to the portable, less expensive format. One advert at the time priced the records at 65 cents each. Oh my god, do I wish that was the case nowadays. One of rock's most cataclysmic early hits, Bill Haley and the Comets' Rock Around the Clock, sold 3 million singles in 1955. The single established itself as the format for popular hits. Even big bands like the Beatles' biggest songs, the ones that you know the most, before, compilation albums, their biggest songs were not released on their LPs, they were released on their singles. And then, pretty much any big song, you'd probably get it on single before you'd get it on the album. So singles were really, really big. According to the New York Times, the peak year for the 7-inch single was 1974, when 200 million were sold. By the early 80s, the 45 began dying a slow, humiliating death. In the 80s, you did start to get 12-inch singles which had extended mixes of the songs or remixes and stuff, but then eventually the number of jukeboxes in the country declined, boomer rock fans increasingly gravitated towards albums, and the cassette format and even the wasteful cassette single and mini CD format began overtaking vinyl 45s. And then even later on, you got CDs fully replacing vinyl, and then you had digital downloads, MP3s, and now you have streaming. However, since the mid-2000s, vinyl has started to have a bit of a resurgence, fueled largely by millennial hipsters under the age of 35, and now I can say that Gen Z is getting into vinyl as well. The old, outdated format has risen from the dead. This started happening like 15 years ago, with vinyl slowly increasing, and now here we are in the early 2020s and vinyl is pretty big again. Last year, for the first time since 1986, vinyl records outranked CDs in annual sales, and this year, 2021, they're on pace to more than double CD revenue, which is pretty insane. In the first half of 2021 alone, 17 million albums were sold, and that is an 86% jump from 2020. So why is this happening? Well, there's multiple factors. First, let's look at this nostalgia / the retro aesthetic. In the 2010s, nostalgia was a huge thing. It dominated pop culture. whether that meant that your songs took on a slightly more 80s kind of sound, or that 80s and 90s fashion became popular again. Hey, even film and TV, Stranger Things, It. The kids from the 80s had finally grown up and now they're making films and TV shows that were love letters to their childhood. So obviously we've gotten a huge lot of nostalgia, but not just for the 80s, all kinds of retro technologies. Because we are now so technologically advanced, it's nice to look back on simpler times. I mean that in technology, not in awful outdated values, but anyway. And then we have the COVID lockdown. So many of us were stuck inside doing nothing, so that meant that we could, start doing hobbies that could be enjoyed from home. I mean, I started collecting vinyl way before the pandemic, but let's just say my vinyl hobby grew very intensely during the lockdowns. I think I bought so much vinyl, it was insane. But it was so nice because it meant I could just sit down, relax, not worry about everything awful happening in the world, and just really start getting into more of my music. And because so many people were getting into vinyl, especially during the lockdowns, businesses like Urban Outfitters, Target and Amazon really benefited by releasing their own exclusives. Especially with them also being online, it meant that people didn't have to go out and buy vinyl. Now, I'm not saying that's a good thing because, small businesses were really impacted during the pandemic and they're still suffering now. However, just from a convenience vibe and for people who are just starting to get into the vinyl industry, you can see how online businesses helped them step their toes into the vinyl industry. With vinyl coming back, it even helped save some businesses. H&V is a music chain in the UK. It is my favourite shop in the entire world, and in the 2010s it went through administration twice. However, when they were bought by Sunrise Records in 2019 and they completely reconfigured their business to make vinyl their main priority, they're better than ever now. Will they ever be as big as they were back in the old days? No, but they are doing so much better because of making vinyl their main focus again. With vinyl getting big again, it's such a great way to support the artist. Not only do you have a bit of artwork in your home now, but also your music is on a gorgeous format that can be in many colours, many shapes, and vinyl comes with posters, digital downloads, booklets. It comes with so many things, and it's just such a nice experience outside of the music itself. And it's a great way to support the artist because artists make more money when you purchase the song or you buy the album versus streaming. So all in all, there's so many reasons and benefits of vinyl's comeback. However, with the vinyl resurgence, that is mainly revolved around 33 RPM albums, LPs. But this video is about my problem with singles, so how about we get back onto singles. Now, singles haven't really had such a big revival compared to their larger and longer counterparts. However, singles have been coming back. They're just coming back in a way that I don't really like, and hence my problem with modern day singles. Now, this is more targeted towards the pop industry rather than indie music, but my main problem is that today singles are seen as merch and not music. What I mean by this is that companies are not utilising the B-side in a good way. Now, for those who are familiar, with a normal single can be 7-inch or 12-inch, you'll have the A side, which is usually the big hit or the big single, and then the B side can be a multitude of things. It can be a different song from the album, like a deep cut. Or if it's a double A side, it can be 2 hits. The B side can be a special version of a song, whether it be a special version of the A side or a special version of a different song that can't be heard on albums. For example, it could be an acoustic version of a song or a special remix version of a song. It can even be a live version of a song. So for example, here we have Love Bug by the Jonas Brothers. This is my heart-shaped 10-inch. Love Bug is on the A side, and the B side is a special live version of Love Bug. So basically what I'm trying to say is that the B side can sometimes be a different song, a different version of a song. It can even be an instrumental if it wants to be. But the B side has something on it. It has a purpose. The thing that I have a problem with is that if we look at my Jonas Brothers Sucker single, the A side is Sucker, their big comeback hit. Their B side is Sucker, their big comeback hit. 2 sides, 1 song. And I paid £14 for this. 2 sides, 1 song. Now if it was just this and all my other singles had multiple songs, then I'm fine. However, what I'm not fine about is that this is a trend that is happening with multiple singles. Last year in November, Urban Outfitters had Singles Week or Singles Day, where for the first 11 days of November they announced the release of a new single, whether it be 7-inch, 12-inch, 10-inch, the size doesn't matter. However, 5 out of the 11 singles that they released did not have a B-side. It was either that one song was copied on both the A-side and the B-side, or even worse, they had the big hit on the A-side and the B-side was nothing. The B-side didn't have any grooves on it. It was literally a blank slate. And I think this is so ridiculous. Singles used to cost 65 cents each. And then, you know, nowadays if you're going into like a second-hand place, you can get a single for like £2 to £5, you know. Companies are now selling singles on artist merchandise websites, shops like Urban Outfitters for ridiculous prices, some of them being nearly towards £20, and you're only getting 1 song. You're conning fans and, let's be real, younger people who don't know too much about the vinyl industry. You're conning them and you're making them pay for something overpriced, and you're only giving them 1 song, and I think that is terrible and shameful. Another example, which I think is absolutely appalling, is the singles that were released for Harry Styles. He released Lights Up on vinyl, and they were very limited and they were quite expensive, and when fans received them, they obviously had Lights Up on the A side. What did they have for the B sides? What they got was a line or a snippet from the song from the A side in a locked groove, and I'll show you an example of that. So you're paying roughly £13–14 plus shipping. You wait for weeks for it to get here, and that's what you get. Like, maybe I'm overreacting, but I'd be pissed. I would be so pissed, because literally, what is the point? With vinyl being a format that can be quite profitable, companies aren't utilising the B-side like they could be. The B-side is a perfect way to create an incentive, to create a need for the fan. Why would I buy a Watermelon Sugar vinyl if I've already got Watermelon Sugar on the Fine Line album? No. Put an exclusive or unique track on the B-side that would make me want to pay for the same song again. Put a different song, put a cover that he's done, put something, you know, use the B-side. You have 2 sides of music. Don't just copy onto the next side. Don't put a stupid locked groove that gets annoying after the 3rd hearing of it. Definitely do not just have the B-side be completely blank with no grooves. It's such a waste of money and such a waste of materials if you're not going to use the B-side for something. So yes, that is my problem with modern vinyl singles. The B-sides are not seen as a space for music, it's just seen as the back of some merch. And I think that needs to be fixed. Otherwise, what's the point? What is the point of wasting materials to create these vinyl singles when you're not going to make them properly? But yes, I hope this made sense. I tried to make this as cohesive as I could. This is my second time making this video. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say. Please let me know your thoughts on this matter. Do you think it matters that vinyl singles are being sold this way? Would you buy a vinyl single like this, or do you not really care? Let me know, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye guys!